Welcome back to American Catechism for episode number 55, as we take a look at another of America's holidays. Today is President's Day, February 16th, 2026. Coming to you from Fort Worth, Texas on Monday, February 16th, where it is about 71 degrees today. Along the way of studying President's Day, we will also take a look at Tarnished Truth Bourbon. High Rye Bourbon from Tarnished Truth Distilling in Virginia Beach, Virginia at the Cavalier Hotel. And I will be sipping on an old-fashioned, a smoked old-fashioned made from Tarnished Truth. That's amazing. Got a special glass for the occasion. Of all the holidays in America, this one may be the most convoluted and confusing one of the bunch. It means different things in different states, and even its name and date varies by state, and the spelling. President's Day, here in Texas, Presidents' Presidents, plural. I grew up mainly in Oklahoma in the 1960s and 70s, and I remember the changeover from Washington's birthday, February 22nd, to President's Day, the third Monday of February, because Lincoln's birthday was February 12th, hence the plural form of President's Day. And this change would celebrate the two most famous and popular presidents on one occasion by splitting the difference between their birthdays. Sort of. I remember my teachers telling us about this new holiday and the changes and all that. I thought it sounded a little bit odd then. I think I was in about the 7th grade maybe. And, celebrating two presidents on a day that was not either of their birthdays. My teachers did not go into the details of how this decision was made or why. Kind of like the making of sausage. The deeper you go, the grosser it gets. So, 1968, the Uniform Monday Holiday Act was passed by Congress. It went into effect in 1971, so I guess I was a 6th grader going into the 7th grade. So that's when this change went into effect. And my teachers talked to us about the holiday. But what was this Uniform Monday Holiday Act? And when I grew up, we had portraits of George Washington and Abraham Lincoln in some of our classrooms. I remember that. But now, this Uniform Monday Holiday Act kind of altered how we did that. This act by Congress moved 4 holidays away from their actual historic dates to new dates. Washington's birthday was moved from February 22nd to the 3rd Monday of February. Memorial Day from May 30th to the last Monday of the month. Columbus Day was moved from October 12th to the 2nd Monday, and Veterans Day moved from November 11th, Armistice Day, to the 4th Monday in October. And then that one was later moved back to November 11th at the insistence of veterans like the VFW and the American Legion lobbied for that change, going back to the original date. So why did Congress make these changes? Votes. The American way. By moving these holidays off their traditional dates, it gave federal unions 4 3-day weekends. What a deal. It was all about appeasing the unions and gaining votes from union members. And the travel industry was lobbying for it. The entertainment industry also loved it because a 3-day weekend meant more customers, more money, more travel, yielding more votes. The government will manipulate the calendar and history itself to get more votes. But wait, there's more. Was George Washington actually born on February 22nd? The answer is no. George Washington was really born on February 11th, 1731. So why is his birthday now listed as February 22nd? Here's where it gets extremely complicated. We go all the way back in time to the year 46 BC and Julius Caesar. Caesar proposed a new calendar to replace the old Roman calendar because the old calendar was a lunisolar calendar where the months actually shifted throughout the seasons because there was no leap year. And so a month that was in spring many years ago became summer and so on. All the seasons kind of shifted through the months. But the Julian calendar, though an improvement, still was not precise enough. And it gains one day every 128 years, even though they included leap years in there. It just wasn't, it didn't line up properly. And so over time, this would also throw the calendar and the seasons off. And eventually, the mathematicians in the Roman Catholic Church in 1582 convinced Pope Gregory XIII to fix the problem because they had figured out that the solar calendar, more precisely and scientifically, and when they got as specific as possible, this is the rule they came up with for leap years, is that every year divisible by 4 is a leap year, except for years that are divisible by 100, except in turn for years also divisible by 400. I don't know if you follow the math there. It's a bit complex for me. For example, 1800 and 1900 were not leap years, but 1600 and 2000 were leap years. So that's the Gregorian calendar. And that replaced the Julian calendar. And it's more accurate. But it's a wee bit complicated. So the bottom line is that the best scientists and mathematicians were in the church, and the Pope wrote a papal bull, an order, that fixed this calendar mess from Julius Caesar's day. But there was a problem. Great Britain had broken off from the Catholic Church early in the 16th century in the Reformation. King Henry VIII wanted a divorce. Church wouldn't grant it to him. So he said, fine, I'll start my own church. That way I can divorce my wife. Wife number, I don't know, 4, 5, 6, who knows. And so England no longer recognized the authority of the Pope. So in 1582, when the Roman Catholic Church changed their calendar, the Protestants did not. The Catholic countries like Spain, and then the Spanish colonies in Americas, or France and French Canada, they switched over to the Gregorian calendar, but Britain was still on the Julian calendar. So these two different calendars at that time were 11 days different in 1752. So to get to the Gregorian from the Julian, you had to add 11 days. And when the King of England was convinced by his scientists to do this, it meant skipping 11 days. Disappearing them, really. So government dropped 11 days from the calendar, just like that. Poof, they're gone, like a time warp. And Britain adopted the Gregorian calendar in 1752. Well, in 1751, George Washington's birthday was February 11th. In 1752, his birthday was February 22nd. How's that for some confusing birthday cards? And now, since 1971, his birthday is celebrated in a variety of days, depending on, where the Monday falls, third Monday falls. All that to appease the unions and gain votes. Wait a minute. Are we done yet? No, it gets even better. Hold on. The federal holiday is celebrated differently by each state, and even its name changes in the spelling. So I was raised under the Oklahoma system that combined Lincoln's birthday, February 12th, with Washington's birthday, February 22nd, to form President's Day, plural possessive, and several other states do that as well. But some states just call it Washington's birthday or George Washington Day. Some states make it Washington and Lincoln's Day. Alabama says George Washington Thomas Jefferson Day because in Alabama they don't much like Abraham Lincoln. And there are other variations as well. It is a federal holiday for federal workers, but the states can do whatever they want. So you won't get the United States mail delivered today, but you can get Amazon deliveries. Cheers for Amazon. But now let's ask another question. Why should we celebrate President's Day? I love things like this day in history or today in history, but those are daily things that don't rise to the level of national holidays usually. We do not celebrate the birthdays of all our presidents. Can you imagine Millard Fillmore Day? Or Jimmy Carter Day? Barack Hussein Obama Day? If you were to celebrate the birthday of one president, I would definitely choose George Washington, the indispensable man of the Revolution. He was the commanding general of the military effort that defeated Great Britain and led our nation in the Constitutional Convention that brought about our new government, and he then served as our first president as we got organized as a country. He turned down being king because it was suggested to him, and he did leave after 2 terms as president, voluntarily surrendering power. What a concept. When you study the life of Washington, he was clearly a remarkable man, and in my humble opinion, divinely protected by God, led by God, so that he could establish our country. Washington, like Christopher Columbus, rises to the level of having a holiday named for him. I think he should be celebrated and studied by school children, and frankly, our nation today could make a bigger deal out of him than we do. There should be movies, TV specials around this holiday. If there had been no George Washington, there would be no United States. And tacking on Abraham Lincoln, I'm fine with. I know a lot of true blue Southerners don't like Lincoln, but the fact of the matter is I think we are a greater country today, united, than we would have been had the South remained separate and started another country. So I think Lincoln did a good work there. A nation and the church should have holidays and holy days to celebrate our history, to remember, to teach, to honor those who've gone before and built up the world that we currently enjoy. We cannot cross over the line into ancestor worship, but we should honor our ancestors and our heroes from the past more than we do, and make sure we pass this knowledge down to our children and our children's children. History is important for any family, for cities, states, and our nation, and our churches. Cheers for George Washington's birthday. And I'm wearing my George Washington tie. I don't know if you can see that or not. All right, and the whiskey that I'm enjoying, Tarnished Truth. A friend of mine gave this to me. He, in the Navy, stationed in Virginia, brought this to me. This is a high rye bourbon, mash bill of 60% corn, 36% rye. That is a high rye mash bill, and 4% malted barley. This is 90 proof, aged for 3 years on the Atlantic coast. And this is an amazing bourbon. I once did a taste test. There's a video of that with this bourbon versus Blanton's. And I think this one is just as good as Blanton's. So, cheers. Have a blessed President's Day. And we will see you next time on American Catechism and Stab the Dragon. Out here.